Hello, my name is Kedar and you're watching rptv. In the following video, we cover the February 13, 2025 Regent Park Social Development Plan Planning Meeting. This meeting brought together key community members to discuss the future of the SDP's initiatives and funding allocations. The session was co-facilitated by Sylvie, a student from Centennial College, and SDP co-chair Walid Kongali Ali. Before diving into the main discussions, longtime SDP member Joe Klassen from Young Street Mission set the stage by outlining essential meeting guidelines. These guidelines emphasize inclusivity, mutual accountability, and the importance of consensus building in making clear and effective decisions. In the first part of our video, we'll take a closer look at the presentation of these meeting guidelines and how they shape the discussions ahead.
For this evening, we have the introduction. Brandy already did the land acknowledgement and African ancestral and the purpose. We have the review of the agenda, proposal of the agenda item. And I believe now we're going to go next to Joe. Joe is going to do for us review the meeting guidelines.
Hey, everybody. Sorry, folks, I stepped away for a bit. Did we have a time for introductions?
We did not do introductions, but we do have time to do introductions. Would you like to start now?
Would you mind doing that? I'd be interested in it.
Okay, let's start. I will go first. My name is Brandy Skinner. I am the administrative sorry. Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking to me. My name is Brandy Skinner, and I am the administrative assistant of the SDP. I will pass it over to Sylvie.
Okay. Sorry. Good evening. Yeah, my name is Sylvie. I am the student, the community development work at the Centennial College. So I will be your half facilitator for this evening. We pass on to Joe.
I'm Joel Clausen, Community Development Specialist at Young Street Mission, and a member of the network. Ali.
Yeah, my name is Ali Chamti. I'm a resident of Regent Park for many years. And I've been with the SDP for several years. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Miguel, and I am a TCSC tenant. Thank you.
I'm Dubai. Sorry, I'm a resident of Regent Park.
Hello, my name is Kedar. I'm a resident of Regent Park and a representative of Focus Media Arts. Pass it to Doreen.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Doreen. I'm one of the SDP ambassadors from University of Toronto. This is my first meeting, so I'm very excited to meet everyone.
Nice to have you, Doreen.
Thank you.
Okay, who's next? Who did not introduce himself or herself?
I didn't.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Marlene DeGenova, and I'm a resident of Regent Park, and I'm a member of the steering committee at the UN Urban Pavilion.
Okay.
I'm Sarah Jane Grow. I'm a resident of Regent Park for the last 6 years. And I'm not chair of anything, but I work hard in the community. I love this community. Okay, hasn't spoken.
I think Michael hasn't gone, I think. Or I don't know if Walid's gone.
Michael, you want to?
Okay, Michael Rosenberg,
Regent Park Social Action Group, strategic planning.
Yeah, my name is Waleed Kogali Ali. I'm one of the co-chairs of the SDP, and I do other stuff in Regent Park. I just want to thank Doreen for joining us. Doreen, I hope this will be a great learning opportunity about the SDP and what happens to the planning committee. So welcome. I'm going to pass it back to Sylvie, who's facilitating the meeting. Go ahead, Sylvie.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think Joe is ready to review the meeting guideline. Joe?
Okay, so maybe since we have at least one or two new people here, Brandy, would you be able to pull up the guidelines and just put them in the chat so people can just open them up on their own and
Yeah.
Them.
Yeah.
I'll open up the meeting guideline itself and share that with.
Okay. Did you mean did you mean the guidelines that we came up with collectively as a group, or
the whole package thing, like the longer one that has the conflict resolution?
Got it.
And the
Got it.
accountability?
Yep.
A little bit bigger?
Sorry, I haven't pulled it up yet. I haven't pulled it up yet, hun. I'm getting it right now. I've got to go to my drive and find it.
Okay.
No problem, though. I will make sure I increase it for you.
Brandy, I could share screen if people want, if
Yeah.
you would like.
Okay, you can share screen and I will close this and look for that document.
Hey, are you seeing the meeting guidelines, folks? Can you see the meeting guidelines?
Yes.
Can you please expand it? It's too small, the fonts to read.
Yes, I was just going to ask that. That's much better. Thank you.
Not big enough?
A little.
Not more, twice. Too small.
That's good.
Good, thanks.
Right. So we went over this last week, but we do want to just keep bringing it back in front of ourselves and reminding ourselves of it and trying to sort of bring these guidelines as always more alive for us. I think we've done that pretty well over the last while since we created them, but let's sort of keep doing it. So again, I'll just review the purpose and then we're going to go to a specific part of it. So we did these guidelines so that we can support a cohesive, inclusive, safe, respectful, and welcoming meeting where we build consensus together, make clear decisions, everyone feels heard, and we are mutually accountable to each other. Now, the piece last week when we went over this, the piece that several people focused on as being of something that really that stood out to them was a piece that I want to just take a moment on now. And that is, though no one knows everything, but together we know a lot. I just thought we'd take some time to look into that and just we have brief comments on that its meaning to you, or if that was something that stood out to you, why that's important to you, if you want to comment on that. So no one knows everything, but together we know a lot. There are no stupid questions. All have wisdom. Think about where you want to get. Other people's ideas can help yours. Everyone is valued, and everyone's contribution is important. Any thoughts on that, or if you have questions, any questions?
Well, we'll
go Waleed, Ali, and then Sarah Jane.
Thank you, Joel. Just folks, remember, if you don't know how to raise your hand, just ask, because some folks are new to the meeting. But you can do that through the React button. With the point that no one knows everything, but together we know a lot. I'll just sum it up in one word: humility. And I'll pass it on to the next speaker.
Ali.
Yeah, I think if you find something more precise about all have wisdom, because I think you see wisdom. You see, it's very something which not everyone have it, and this is something we should learn by experience, by knowledge, by socializing, for many reasons. And I think we can change it. And all have feelings. Well, this is just a suggestion, recommendation.
I think we're not changing it now. This was something that we spent some time on, and we agreed on it. But I mean, we can hear your thoughts on that, Ali. I think, and maybe the sentiment of it isn't that everybody's being wise all the time, but everybody has some piece of wisdom in them. I think that's kind of the spirit of it. So everybody has something, thoughts that are valuable to the whole group in some way or other. And again, so that the intent of this section is that we would all see the value that each of us has. Each person here has a value and something to bring. That's kind of what we want to be reflecting on.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone has something. Yeah, and that's all I to and to understand it.
Yeah.
To understand it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Ali.
You're welcome.
Sarah Jane.
Hi, am I muted? No, I'm not.
We can hear you.
Okay, I've been interested in the culture, shaping the culture of my work in Regent Park for the whole 6 years I've been here. And what I find is that people on the surface say it's all inclusive and respectful and everybody's valuable, but then often that is undercut in this chat. So, and I've been very disappointed at that. And I mean, this has gone on for years, and there's a couple people that are always arguing. I mean, I won't name any names, and they have disagreements about their kids. And I don't know. I've been very disturbed by it. So I have put as a proposal for discussion that we eliminate the chat. I'm sure there'll be a lot of discussion about that, but I feel strongly about it. So I just wanted to mention that here, and that maybe you would consider discussing it at a later date. I put it in the proposals, but I don't know if I've done it properly. But I've said that we should eliminate the chat and we should discuss it.
Okay, thanks, Sarah Jane. But so it sounds like you're saying that the sentiment here is one that you think is an important sentiment, and you'd like to see it more fully applied.
And not undercut, not even applied, but undercut, like complete.
So not undercut. Okay.
Yeah. Undermined. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, if they're under the comments, I just again, we're just bringing this to our attention, just to hopefully help to make this more applied all the time, or not undercut. So we're going to move on. Ali, if you have a brief comment, we can close with your comment. Is that an old hand, Ellie?
I think it's an old hand up.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's an old hand.
Mhm.
I also just want to note that just looking, if you see the chat, folks, there are the links to all the documents that are part of this package of social development plan guidelines. And you can open those up and review them at your leisure. And it's good, just a helpful thing for us to look at them from time to time to help sort of guide each of us on our own and help us to bring our best to this group.
I'm not going to be able to retrieve them unless they're email. Is that possible?
Oh, we can email them again to you, Sarah Jane. That's fine.
I've emailed it. I'll find it.
I'm on it. I'll email it now.
Thanks a lot, Brandy. Appreciate it. Okay, so now we're on to our next piece.
Yeah. It's still Joe. Is the follow-up to last Thursday Shaping Culture meeting. We're convening Shaping Culture subcommittee. So, Joe.
Absolutely.
And after that, Walid, you can take over.
Be right back.
Being great.
Joe?
I just want to bring up the document so I
can
remind myself.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Sarah Jane, the documents have been emailed to you. Is there anyone else that needs a copy?
Yes, if you would send it to me as well, please.
Yeah, Marlene, you're next.
Thank you.
No problem.
Brandy, do you mind just sharing screen on the
Done me already, eh? Okay.
Can I share screen right after I send the email to Marlene, or
do you mind doing the share screen first?
Sure.
Just so I'm just not pulling it up here.
Okay, let me get to here.
Oh, I found it here.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yep. Okay, I think the main point. So there was several things that came out of last week's meeting. I can give a few examples. Things like ways to bring the guidelines to the group and the various groups in some ongoing ways, like what we just did, for example. There was a number of suggestions of things we could do. We thought the easiest way to move forward on that is there was a subcommittee that created these guidelines. That would bring that subcommittee back together and then in order to discuss those suggestions and whatever other ideas that we have. And so I just wanted to let people know that so I was convening that subcommittee, and I'll do that again so that we can meet and then report back from time to time here, and not just report back, but actually perhaps bring activities here or elsewhere to try to make these guidelines more alive again. So really that's it for that. And I can pass it back to you, Sylvie.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for the update. I will pass it on Wally to continue with the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvie. Ali, your hand is still up. Do you want to say something?
No,
Perfect.
No, I have nothing there.
Awesome. Okay, Brandy, do you mind just sharing on the agenda what our next item is going to be? I know it's related to the business plan, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, you're muted, Brandy.
Sorry, related to the business cases?
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe you can just give context because we have some new members. So
Yeah.
they may not
All right, so this item is related to the business cases that we are submitting. So a part of the SDP is funded, well, the SDP is funded through the Social Development Finance Administration. And one of the things that we do is when we want to cover an expense, whether that be for training, whether it's for meetings or any of the other SDP related activities, we would have to put together a business case and present it to the city for approval so that we can acquire the funds to cover the cost. So one of the things we are doing now is every year there's a $50,000 budget allotted for the SDP that we are allowed to tap into to cover such things as, like I said, meetings, childcare, food for our stakeholders table meeting. There's also things like training, and other SDP related events that happen, as there are a lot that happen through the event. I also sent a link to our SDP calendar so that you can access important information such as these meetings and other events and working group meetings as well. And the SDP has presented some ideas around some of the potential items and expenses that we could possibly utilize for 2025.
You mean 500,000?
Beg your pardon? So
You said
that's
50,000. It's 500,000, isn't it?
No.
so the money that we're talking about is the $50,000 budget. That's what we're presenting business cases for right now.
Yeah. So let's just for clarity for new members of the planning committee, the 500K is for grant funding for projects that implement the prioritized actions of the SDP, and the 50,000 is called the 50K. The nickname is the 50K. It's the administrative fund that for the city is responsible for it. Specifically, a department called SDFA, which stands for, would like to social. I want people to know
Development Financial Administration.
exactly. SFA, and they actually are funded by the City of Toronto. It's one of the large departments at the City of Toronto. Okay, does everyone understand that piece, the background? Any questions about the background?
With the meeting guidelines in place, participants shifted their focus to the heart of the discussion, the business case proposals for 2025. These proposals covered the key funding priorities, from supporting in-person meetings and stakeholders' engagement to ensuring the sustainability of SDP leadership roles and media documentation. As funding constraints weigh heavily on decision-making, community members explored alternative solutions, including a proposal to reintroduce potluck meals at stakeholders' table meetings. Let's take a look at the discussions surrounding these proposals and the challenges in reaching a consensus.
Okay, so we had a special meeting where a few members from the planning committee, one singular, came together to discuss some of the potential ideas around what we could be accessing the funds for. So I'm going to quickly stop sharing this document on the screen and show you the document so you have reference to see what we came up with. Now, we haven't adopted it yet as a planning committee because this is just presenting all members who were not present the opportunity to see what few members came up with in ideas of pursuing the $50,000. So I am going to share this document. Share. And can everybody see this?
No.
Sorry, Jane. Just give it a second.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
We can.
Yeah.
Do I need to increase the size for anybody?
Sure.
Okay, all right, so let me just
you can just go view.
Oh, that's way too complicated for me.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can everybody see all? Okay. So right now, sorry?
That's good.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad. All right. So this is just a list of the business case proposals that are possibilities. So together again, a small group of us got together, and we have 7 different we came up with 7 different ideas on what we should support. So one, we have the stakeholders table expenses for the entire year. So the stakeholder table meetings, it's a quarterly meeting. It happens 4 times a year. And can somebody jump in and explain a little bit more about what the stakeholders table meeting is?
Yeah, stakeholders table is the governance table, and at the last stakeholders table meeting, the planning committee was empowered to also make decisions. But what used to happen is we used to make recommendations to the stakeholders table. Sometimes we'll also make decisions or recommendations for certain decisions to be made by our partners. But the stakeholders table is open to all residents of Regent Park. It's open to members or stakeholders of the SDP, and it's a great space to get the yearly report backs, but also to approve or vet the decisions that were made by the planning committee, especially if they're important decisions. So it's a great space where everyone is welcome. So is the planning committee, by the way, but we've changed the structure of the planning committee to have more representation from the working groups, to be more specific. Does anyone have any questions about the stakeholders table? And what is this business plan, Brand? Is it for how many for the year?
Yeah, so it's for 4 for 2025, as I did state earlier. They are quarterly, so there'd be 4, with our very first one happening on March 27th, Thursday, March 27th, 2025. We are still confirming the details of the location, and once that is solidified, we will then be marketing and promoting the event to attract as many residents as possible. So we usually have, do you want me to talk about the numbers that I asked for, or? Okay, so we asked for $5,000 for the full year, $1,250 for each. And I believe it was $950 for food, beverages, and $300 for childcare mining. One of the things that the SDP really does, and I'm not sure, like, this was in place before I came in here, but I think it's really, really great that they have money for child minding. It just makes it more accessible for everyone in Regent, considering a lot of residents are parents. So that's just one of the ways the SDP tries to go above and beyond and ensure that there is accessibility for each and everybody, each and everyone. Perfect.
Before we go to item 2, I see Sarah Jane.
And I have a dollar figure for what we're asking for. I mean, I know Brandy should do it.
1,250, Sarah Jane.
I'm sorry, 1,250
per stakeholder meeting. So in total, it is 5,000.
So 4 at 1,250.
Correct.
My math is so good. Thank you. Okay, can we put that in?
Yep, putting it right now. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, does anyone have any questions for the stakeholders table? We've got 6 other items to cover. Anyone else? Okay, let's go to the second one, the second proposal.
Okay, the second proposal is from Dini, and that is for a community-wide report back of the SDP as a recruitment of new members event. I don't know too much about this. She did speak about it briefly, but she was just saying that having an event where we are recruiting new members, but also reporting back on all of the different successes that the SDP has had for the entire, not just the entire year, but overall what they've achieved since the beginning of the social development plan. And that way it can help improve new members to come in and join, but also to participate. because there are a lot of opportunities across the SDP. And if you are new here, you know, I encourage you to reach out to co-chairs of the groups. If you reach out to me, I can definitely, you know, connect you with some emails and some point of contact, because there are a lot of different supports and a lot of different events, activities, supports, grants, and different working groups that you could be a part of. So this opportunity, this proposal would definitely tie in together as kind of like a stakeholders meeting, but with a different lens. She did not provide us with a number, so that would be something that we would have to discuss further with Deanie, or come up together with what an estimate based on whatever the activities would involve. We have two hands. We've got Gail and Sarah, and I don't know which one raised their hand first.
Why don't we go with Gail first and then Sarah Jane? Go ahead, Gail. And then we have Joel.
Gail?
Yes, so I think I'm not sure if you're asking for feedback on these items. The number one is okay. Number two, though, there's currently a report back that is done. Is that what the reference is about? I know the add-on is recruitment, and my query there would be around the funds that currently exist. I believe they're sitting with Dixon Hall for recruitment. So I think, you know, that's why work plan is always good, but I think understanding that piece would help us to determine what is this actual proposal, because a report back is part of our work that we do. And I don't know if that money is included in these stakeholder table expenses.
Okay.
So that and to be answered. I know the report back, I believe Michael and also Adonis kind of have a little bit of stake in that one. So maybe they can help with that.
For sure. And I just wanted to not kind of overstep by, you know, explaining exactly. I'm not sure exactly what it entails, and that's I'll leave that to Deanie. So what I can do is I can connect with her and get that information for us.
Excellent.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. No problem.
Yeah,
Go
Sarah
ahead,
Jane,
William.
you can go next, and then we've got Joel, then Adonis. Sarah Jane, please proceed.
I'm concerned about the wording of this. I don't like report back. I don't like event. There should be a celebration in here somehow, making it less serious. A proposal for a community-wide celebration on the SDP as a recruitment for new members.
Thank you, Sarah Jane. That's a really creative. I think we can also discuss on how we brand this initiative or this proposal. We've got Joel, then Adonis or Kedar, whoever wants to speak. Michael, do you want to go next?
You'll take out report back then? Well,
No, discuss that. This is you made a suggestion. Noted.
okay.
Okay. So we need to connect with the person who put forward the proposal. So let's go to Joel and Kedar or Adonis.
I would just, I think the idea of a event focused around recruitment, sort of like the SDP fair that we did a few years ago. That's what Deanie keeps referring back to as kind of a model. I think it's a great idea, and I think that it would actually fit as one of, maybe we could modify the proposal so that the 4 events we're asking for funding for aren't like that. That at least one of those events includes this kind of language of it being modeled for recruitment. I think that would be a great way to organize one of those meetings. And I think it's probably better to include it in the 4 rather than add it, because I think we are, like, our capacity of pulling off these complex, large community meetings is, I think we'd be far better suited to do 4 of them rather than 5. So that's my proposal.
Thanks, Joel. I'll after Adonis, I'll go next. I have a suggestion to make. Kedar or Adonis, go ahead.
Yeah, I was at that meeting with Deanie. My understanding is that it's not really a report back. A report back is something that we always do with the stakeholders table. This is more like what Joel was talking about, a community fair that is focused on the SDP, like the work, all the work groups, and trying to recruit residents who know nothing about the SDP to be involved, be engaged, to sign up. And it's just sort of a fun activity. So I wouldn't go with trying to add it as part of the 4 because that's a stakeholders table. It's different. It's more like a separate event, a celebration as Sarah Jane said, but really it's a recruitment for the Regent Park community. So, and I would propose something like $2,000 for something like that. Again, it's separate from the stakeholders table. I wouldn't want to put it as part of the stakeholders table expense.
Sounds good. Okay, we've got Adonis's feedback on this. So, folks, I think I want to challenge everyone to think about every opportunity as an opportunity to recruit new members, to sign up new members. So every stakeholders meeting, we should have people sign up. An email should be sent out about the working group meetings, so folks can get more involved about the priorities that they want to support. Mostly, they could support more than one priority, whether it's community building or safety. So I think every working group meeting should be an opportunity for recruitment. The other point I want to make is we've already started this process last year with Sunday in the Park. So where we actually, Brandy, I have contact information of approximately 340 people that signed up during Sunday in the Park. And it's still, this data still hasn't, we haven't engaged with those residents yet. So we've done a lot of signups. The question is, what do we do next after signing up? How do we engage with residents so that they could join the working groups? So I think we should continue with Sunday in the Park as a recruitment opportunity. But what I'm hearing from Adonis, and maybe this is something we need to check with Deanie about, is this is a separate event altogether. That's not related to Sunday in the Park. That's not related to the stakeholders table. And if that's the case, then we do need to put a budget proposal. I'm not opposed to it. I think actually the more opportunities, the better. And even if it's more intentionally focused on recruitment and it's branded just the SDP recruitment, why not? Let's try it. Especially this year when we're actually going to need as much support from the community as possible if we want to resource this community through the social development plan. So I'm on board with a separate business plan for a separate engagement activity. I'm going to pass it on to Gail, and then we'll move on to item 3. These are other speakers. Go ahead.
Yes, me.
Okay, sorry, Gina, you go after Gail.
For me, I think having that conversation with the Dixon Hall, because that was part of the body of work that they have money to work on, would be a first pass than to say recruitment. We've done these stakeholder events, we've done other events, and nobody is recruited, right? So if we have 300 names, that should have been brought to certainly whoever it needs to be brought to so that that could be worked on. My understanding was, oh, they were collected for RPNA. So not sure if that's different now, but yeah, 300 is great. So that shouldn't be a difficult thing. Maybe the starting point is you have 300, how can we engage with them? Rather than let's go ask people to sign up again. And I don't know if they knew what they were signing up for. We don't know. We don't have privy to what that was, if they were just told sign up or if they were given information or whatever that is. So who are these people? Why would they want to join the working groups? Would they want to join the worker groups, or were they just signing up so they could get thought they were maybe getting a free meal, or like what is that? It is important, right? Because if I sign up for one reason and then you contact me for something else, I may not be interested in that something else.
Got Sarah Jane, then Ali. Michael, you want to go as well? And remember, my friends, we've got 4 other items on the agenda. So let's try to get through the agenda. Okay, Sarah Jane, back to you.
I think that a community affair is a good idea. That happened with the first manager here at the Sumac, and it was only at the Sumac, but that's what got me involved. It was Ishmael that got me involved. And you go around to each committee and find out what they're doing in each activity. And it's very mobile, and it's, you can do what you want. It's not a meeting, it's a fair. So let's get out of the report back. And I don't care whether it's a fair or a celebration, but a fair is a good idea. FAIR.
Okay, Sarah Jane seems to be supportive of a fair. Thank you, Sarah Jane. We'll go to Ali, then Michael, then Joel. Ali, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. Walid, you have 300, 300 stakeholders, 300 residents of Regent Park?
300 residents and also potentially stakeholders. There may be people who might not live in Regent Park, but came to Sunday in the Park and are supportive of the SDP.
Yeah, I have another thing. You see, I think we should try to exist in, for example, in some places like a swimming pool, like Regent Park, and a grocery, to chat with the people, to talk with the people, to have what? Yes, you see, and this is, I think, we need, as I said before, and I keep saying it, not anyone can, because of that, not all people are wisdom. I don't agree with that. Otherwise, we will be having a different world if all people are wisdom. So that we need to prove our skills, to be intellectual, to have to talk with the people in something which concerns their daily lives or their environment situation, so that and then through these things, through these communications, then we can talk about SDP and attract people and be friendly. You see now, for example, somebody in the previous meeting, they said always negative, and I am always positive. I go to the swimming pool. In the swimming pool, most of the staff, they know me, and they know I am friendly, and I communicate with them. So this is something which is not wise to judge about people, for example, of negativism while they are in a cage or something, that they jail themselves in a cell, and they don't know how to communicate with other people, how to be friendly, how to be sociable, how to they don't have soft skills.
Yeah, so Ali,
okay, that's it. Well,
yeah.
That's it. Because nobody likes to hear the facts.
No, you're saying something. You've repeated this point over and over again, and we agree with you.
Okay, that's it, Bolly. That's it. Okay, what I see.
You want skills development, right?
No, what I see. You see, what I see. You're judging me. You are repeating these things because these things are essential, important. I told you. I give you an example. I go to the swimming pool and I become friendly with the people at the swimming pool and also with the staff. And the staff, I don't think they know each other more than even some of them, they know me or they know people, because I know how the life should be and how to be friendly, sociable, and all of these things. I'm repeating when we learn something which is not understood, what I am talking about. And this is something which is not good. You see, I am telling you, I go to the swimming pool, I'm friendly, I know how to socialize, to talk, to bring some gifts, some sweet. You see, they like me, they know me, and I want them to be open, and then it's something which is good and fun. And you see, anyone judge me that I have a lot of fun. I go to socialize, to swimming pool, and then the people, those who are stone-minded, they don't understand.
Ali.
Yes.
You've said this stuff over and over again. You made the
okay,
point.
Okay, then okay. I am leaving. Okay. As you say, you say so.
We understood the point. We just want to make sure other people speak because it's for other points. We
No,
also
because before, you see, I told you, I was in the thing, and the one who attacked me, and you say always negative, negative, and even the doctor yesterday, when I talked with him, he said, you have a lot of fun. You see what happened to me and what's Sweden. You said you have a lot of fun. He is an educated person. But when you find dumb people, they don't know what is the soft skill, what is the enjoyment, what is the fun, and thus have problems even, mental problems. You cannot work with people like that. You see.
okay.
This is what okay, and then as you said,
Ali, we've
I'm
got
keeping it.
Michael. Ali, I just want to make this clear. We've got Michael, Joel, and Marlene waiting. I just want to make it very clear. You've said the point over and over again, and I understand you.
Okay, I'm leaving because I'm saying the same words always. Okay, have a good night.
We don't want you to leave. We've heard what you said. We just
No, I'm leaving.
Okay. Okay, we'll go with Michael next. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, so it might have been handled better if you didn't tell him he'd said it already, because then he just feels criticized and feels he needs to say it again, so he wasn't being criticized, and it just goes into a loop. But anyways, okay, so we've had a couple of different types of meetings, like, and we seem to want to do it sort of differently this time, more like a fair and a celebration. And that's fine. I'm not sure it's going to be able to connect up with the work that Dixon Hall previously did, because I believe they finished what they're doing. This is new funds, and we have done several similar events, and clearly we have a slightly different idea how we want to do it this time. I suppose Dixon Hall could join us, but I think it's very separate and different from what Dixon Hall previously did. It's more like a different variation, try a different way for the types of things we've done already. And we may not want to call this one a report back. We may want to do it very differently, but it's still a continuation of our efforts in that direction. And I suppose Dixon Hall can join us, but I don't think they're like the basis for this. I think the basis for it is more like the SDP, and if it's not going to be a stakeholders table, then we can call it something else, but it's still basically continuation of the SDP meeting structure in some other form. So it's more like a celebration, or it'll be different in some way, but it's still basically the SDP's ongoing events or meetings or gatherings or celebrations. It just falls under that category. I know I'm making a very broad category there, but it still falls under that category, and we can continue to do it. But I think it might be better to put in the business plan to say 3 stakeholders table and 1 celebration. I think, but I'm not opposed to putting it in as a completely separate business plan.
Okay, thanks for sharing your thoughts, Michael. We're gonna go to Joel next, but before Joel, I did see Marlene's hand. Joel, why don't you go first, and then I think Marlene's the last speaker.
Sure. Yeah, just note that it can be tough to deal with situations in a meeting, and just want to hold that we just lost Ali, and hopefully we'll have him back, and just to not pass over that quickly. But and I appreciate your efforts, Waleed. It's you were trying to move the meeting along. I did hear you, Waleed, and I heard Ali also talk about other ideas for recruitment. And it seems to me, I would suggest that I don't think we're ready to have a business case for this event. I think that there's a bunch of good ideas here, and I think it might probably be better for us to take a little bit of time to think through how we want to do recruitment, and then come up with a business case that covers recruitment as a whole, rather than just having one event. I'm not opposed to the event. I think it's a great idea. And also, in the meantime, I think there's things we don't even have to have an agenda item on this. Like, we can all, as sort of just, I think, echoing what Waleed said, we can all make efforts for recruitment if we want to do something larger scale, let's do it as a category rather than as an event, is what my suggestion is. And in that spirit, I do think it's fine to have it separate from stakeholders table. I think that it would be good to have one fewer stakeholders table in order to do this event properly.
Okay, we've got Marlene next.
Hi, yeah, I kind of like the idea of doing recruitment fair. However we do that, or however many times we do our stakeholders table. I think where we've fallen down is not having a properly planned follow through. You can collect all the names you want, but if you don't have a really structured and planned follow through to capture those names afterwards, it doesn't matter how many names you capture. And that's where we've always, fallen down on the job, I think. The fact that you've captured all those names during the what is it, the thing in the summer,
In the park.
and no one has sat down calling those people, that's kind of a waste of time. That should have been planned, and where you'd start the next day calling those people. You should have a team ready to go to get those people on board, signed up with a date ready for everybody to meet. And that's, we just don't have that done. And we've done this before where we haven't followed through. So I think that's really important, that when you start these things, you know that your team is ready to capture these people.
Well said. Good recommendation.
That's as important, if not more important, than the event itself.
Exactly. Very solid point. Thank you, Marlene. Okay, folks, we have different ideas. There's buy-in for a separate event. There is buy-in for a recruitment strategy. There's buy-in to also look into other collaborators. So we have difference of opinion, but I think we can maybe bring this item back for further deliberation and a decision based on consensus. I want to move on to the next item. We've got 4 other items. The next one relates to the co-chair's honorarium. So before I move on to that item, I'm going to ask any last remarks related to the community-wide recruitment event.
Well, just how it relates to the stakeholders table, because I think
the stakeholders is
I think the conclusion is that we want to ask for 3 stakeholders tables because we expect to have something else at some point in the year, and it won't be a stakeholders table.
That was proposed by Marlene, and I hear that you seem to agree with that notion. But what I heard with regards to the first item, which is independent of the second item, is that there'll be 4 stakeholder meetings, each $1,250. But
so what I'm saying is, because of the discussion, we should make that 3 because we won't be able to manage. No, but you didn't hear me, because what I'm saying is that we need to actually change that to 3 because we won't be able to manage 5 large events.
Can you please give me an opportunity to explain before you assume that I didn't hear you? I am making it very clear. Item 1 we already dealt with. Item 1 related to 4 stakeholder table meetings at $1,250. We discussed it. We said we're good with it. Item 2, a new proposal came out of it, which is to look at one of the stakeholders meetings as a potential recruitment fair. That is something that you expressed, and so did Marlene. So I'm carefully hearing what you have to say.
No, you didn't hear me. What I said is we need to change the first point because something new has come up that's not compatible with doing 4 events, 4 stakeholders.
Well, can I make a suggestion?
Can I make this point then? You've proposed that. Others have proposed something else. I'm saying let's not assume that we have consensus on how to move forward. There was a suggestion to take it back, to discuss it further, and bring it back. We're not ready for
that means you have to take the first one back as well. And what I'm saying is I would like us to get the first one out of the door today because we need the money for March 27th. So let's change it to 3.
So there's
I've got an idea.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joel. You have an idea. Put forward your idea. Since Mike, I want that we can move on to the next item.
Yeah, note that Brandy's already sent it. So actually we can't change it. And even if we could, let's just not change it. And if we do come up with this idea for another event, then we can change it. And the city will not have a problem with that. We just tell them, instead of 4 stakeholders tables, we're going to have 1 less. We'll use the money for this other thing. It's all good. It's all for the community. It'll not be an issue. I don't think we need to change from 4 to 3 today.
Okay, so thanks for clarifying that, Joel, that business case was already submitted. So let's bring back item 2 to discuss how we could have a recruitment strategy that could also be a community recruitment fair. Okay. All right, we'll bring it back. We'll discuss this in more details before we put forward a business proposal to the city. Okay, item 3 is regarding co-chairs honoraria. Back to you, Brandy, if you want to elaborate this and what why the change, and then we'll have a discussion.
Absolutely. So, with the changes coming from the refresh, one of the things that we were trying to do is to look for ways to cut expenses, just because we do know that there are some changes coming. I'm not sure exactly where the suggestion was made first. I believe it was in a previous meeting that somebody suggested that maybe not all of the co-chairs get paid. And that's why this was added to as a potential for 2025. So the 2023 and 2024 already that was already submitted. So we are just waiting on the SDFA to send the money. That's already been done. But for 2025, we were thinking of being, I guess, a little bit leaner and greener with some of the money. And the idea came up that not every co-chair should get paid. I'm not saying that was, I'm just saying that that's what came up. So we can discuss that.
Yeah, so we've got Kedar going, who wants to speak to this. I don't think this was ever decided before. So this is a new proposal. Currently, just for everyone's information, we have 1 market, 1 TCHC co-chair, 1 agency co-chair. The 1 market and TCHC both get an honoraria. The agency co-chair doesn't. The TCHC co-chair is usually money coming from TCHC. They have a fund that they spoke about that Richard from the city also articulated was what they're trying to get more clarity on, because it does come from a city specific, TCHC budget, but there was an understanding that if it's not covered by TCHC, it will still come out of the 50K. It will come out of the city funds, the TCHC piece. And the market one, no one challenged that. No one, because we do appreciate that this is not a salary. This is just a token of appreciation. And we do have market residents and co-chairs that volunteer a lot of their time to support the working groups. So I'll take it back to Adonis or Kedar. So Adonis, you want to go next?
Yeah, so this item, in terms of the discussion, from my recollection, was that in the past, as Waleed had indicated, we had played market and TCHC resident co-chairs. Richard had expressed resistance to paying market co-chairs. When we talked about this item, he didn't say no. He just felt there was resistance around that. So this proposal was the idea, and I'm not gonna say why Richard proposed it, but I guess his thinking is because market residents don't need to be paid for some reason. I can't speak with him. However, this item was about looking at that resistance, but also to how can we try to have a leaner budget as well, and thinking about let's do 1 co-chair for each of the working groups. And the groups can choose which of the co-chairs should be given the honorarium. So that's where that came from.
Yeah, I think that's a clear idea. Okay, Gail next, and then I'll put my name on the speakers list. Go ahead, Gail.
Yeah, I think I think it certainly warrants a conversation if you want to have that conversation with current market co-chairs, see how they certainly feel about it. That may be one way of going about it, and do it on a case-by-case basis. So a person may say, hey, I'm okay, I don't need that. I don't want the honorarium. It's not pay, it's not salary. It's as it is an honorarium. And I know that some of us, we donate that back to other nonprofit things that we're working on. So that also happens. So I think that definitely, sometimes for me anyways, the things like this, certainly you can do a case-by-case basis. I think if you get into the act of, well, they're market, so you don't need the money, because obviously it boils down to, money. So you shouldn't. I think you create a narrative that already exists, and a narrative that is not true for everyone. I've had statements thrown at me specifically saying, oh, this is what, making the comparison between a market and a TCHC resident, right? Without knowing me, you don't know me, you don't know that I've been homeless, you don't know that I lived in a car, you don't know anything about me, but you make these statements, right? So we don't know people's situation. And then, we certainly, Marlene, has been doing some work where she's seen certainly the change in the demographic of the market resident, right? People are, and then, now you folks have caught on to this word or phrase, and you're using this phrase of kind of equity seeking. So and I think it's important, and to, the fact that you're coming to say, hey, I don't know why the city, right? Because at the end of the day, Richard represents this. I don't know why the city, I think that's for me a bit disingenuous, right? You can't ask a person to make a decision, a group body to make a decision, but you don't know why that proposal was made. That doesn't give us information to make an informed decision. So I'd say that one would need to be careful there. And there are not that many market residents who are engaged, right? And that's for many types of reasons. And none of them I know for sure is not about money. So there is that as well.
Okay, those are wonderful points to reflect on. Thank you, Gail. I'm of the opinion that if we want to achieve social cohesion and inclusion, we should not treat our resident co-chairs differently. I think poverty exists both in TC.
You're taking off your facilitator hat, which is fine. Just let us know that you're doing it.
Yeah, I said I was going to go next, and then after Gail. So again, I'm going to reiterate my point. I think our goal is social cohesion and inclusion, and I think treating the co-chairs separately does not contribute to that. I think there's poverty in TCHC buildings, just like there's poverty in market buildings. And this is honoraria, my friends. There is so many hours, if not, I don't know, maybe we should start calculating the number of hours that our co-chairs put into supporting the working groups. This is peanuts. This is just saying thank you. And for us not even to show appreciation equally for the co-chairs, so we can encourage the co-chairs both from TCHC and market to participate meaningfully, I think would be not helpful. Yeah, those are my position. That's my position on this issue. I think we should treat both co-chairs equally. So we'll go to Joel and then Marlene, and then if anyone else wants to speak, please let us know. We have 4 other items after this. So we'll go Joel and Marlene.
I would say we don't make the proposal yet. I would say we hope to have Richard come to a meeting in the near future, I believe. And perhaps we can clarify with him some of the thinking around it. And then out of that conversation, then we could prepare a meaningful business case. I do understand that they're not planning on giving honoraria at all this year. I shared that with the group some time ago. But probably best to hear whatever the specific messages from Richard, from somebody from the city, and then based on whatever that conversation comes out of that conversation, then we come up with a business case.
Okay, Marlene. Marlene.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know that I'm probably in the minority on this topic, but I have said this for years and years. I am really opposed to honorarium. I think it's created a culture in this neighborhood by TCHC and the city that even the young people won't donate their time unless they're paid. And I think if you care about your neighborhood, and this is not the way it was years and years ago, you donated your time because you care about your community. Now nobody wants to do that. And I think it causes jealousy and like, oh yeah, that person's going to do this because they get paid. No, you donate your time because you care, not because you get paid. And I think that the honorariums are wrong. And yeah, I know I'm a market person, so I don't get to say that. But I've donated my honorariums back, and it's I just think it's caused damage in this community. And I see it outside of this community as well. My kids grew up in a different neighborhood, and they if they do something for they did something for their community, they got credits, and I was opposed to that as well. They should be doing things for their community, and I expected my kids to do things for their community because it was the right thing to do, not because they got damn credits. So and now my kids are, my kid is political. He's doing stuff for his community. He no longer gets credits. He's a grown man. He knows if he cares about his neighborhood, he has to work for it. But that's not what we're teaching our kids. So I am really, really opposed to this idea of paying people to do things that should be voluntary. Anyway, that's the way I've always felt about it from the time I had young kids. And I didn't always have money. I have been very poor, and I was volunteering in those days that I was very, very, very poor. And in other countries, people who are very poor trying to change their neighborhoods do not get honorariums because they don't have a TCHC to give it to them.
Thank you. Thank you, Marlene. So I think the proposal is to hear back from the city first before we put forward a proposal for the co-chair honoraria. So are we comfortable with that way forward?
Yep, I'm comfortable.
Okay, get more information from the city first.
We should make up our own minds before we hear from the city.
Yeah, so we don't have a qualified position right now, and I'm hoping that after we've heard from the city, we will come up with one perspective. Like Marlene, you're not a fan of honoraria. We've got some folks who are wanting to give honoraria just to TCC co-chairs. Some want both to get on honoraria. So I think we need to build consensus, and we need to hear what the reasons are. Why was this even brought up by the city in the first place when the general practice is for both co-chairs to get on honoraria, which I think is why what we want people to be treated fairly. But anyways, we have differing opinions. Okay. So let's try to build consensus on that. Okay, we're not going to agree today. Okay, the next item is funding the SDP coordinator role. Can we hear from Brandy on this item? Hopefully we have consensus on this.
Yep. So my current contract ends May 31st. And I know, again, I have to mention the refresh. As per the refresh, the new ambassador roles will be taking over. So I'm not sure what's happening with the SDP coordinator position. And I believe, the SDP does need a coordinator. And I hope that I can pass that on May 31st over to somebody, that really is passionate about community and wants to engage, and learn more about the SDP and get involved with, building up community. And I just think that it would be a great opportunity to see someone else in the role for May 31st. So I kind of I like the fact that, I'd like to see this position still continue. But again, due to the refresh, we're not really sure if this position will be extended. So in terms of that, the question on everyone's mind is, will there be funding for the SDP position, and to put forth a business proposal to secure that. I'm not sure why it's coming out of the 50K, but that's one of the proposals that was added. And not by me. I just want to say that.
Thank you.
No
Okay.
problem.
Hello?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Michael, you want to
Michael.
go first? Go ahead.
So the city's been saying for a long time that, they may do something differently in a few months. But I don't think, not all of us get lots of meetings with the city. So I don't really like having strings pulled by remote control and we don't know what's going on. So obviously the city doesn't have to fund this, but I think we should put it in because it's what we want. And then they can decide if they're going to fund it. I just think it's as simple as that. We want an administrative position from June to December, put in the business case, and let the city decide what they decide.
Exactly. Well said, Michael. I agree with you. Okay, let's move on to Marlene, and then Joel, and then Adonis. Marlene, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Michael. And why would we change person? Why would we not keep Brandy?
Yeah.
I think that would be part of it, that we keep it consistent. I don't want to lose that.
Okay, good point, Marlene. We want to keep Brandy. Thank you. We'll go on now with Joel, then Adonis.
I just suggest that that this would be better addressed at an initial stage if people want to attempt to have that meeting, but have Richard come here and speak to that as well, speak to various items, and then do the business case. If people want to do the business case and then perhaps adjust it after that meeting, that could be another way to proceed. I just suggest that first get more information from the city.
Okay, there's another suggestion from Joel. It's been consistent with other items. Adonis.
I agree with Michael on this one. I think the city has always said they review every piece of the budget that we put in, or every business case anyways, to go out and try to get their feelers about things. And then once we get their feeler, then submit something. Doesn't make sense to me. We should just put a business case to what we would like, whether that's 8 honorariums for co-chairs, or 4 honorariums, or no honorariums, or put in the whole funding for the administrator if we want administrator. The city will review it and will tell us no or give us less funding. What I don't see the purpose. I think we should just put in a business case, as Michael says, and then meet with them around it. Let's not do the other way around.
Okay.
My opinion.
Yeah, okay, so I think we have consensus. I haven't heard one opposition to a business case for the SDP coordinator role after May 31st to December 31st of 2025. So that item will proceed for consideration and approval. So Brandy, I think we're good with that one. Okay, the next item is $15,000 for RPTV to do all the SDP groups that were funded, the planning committee meetings and the working group projects that are led by the SDP. Brandy, you want to lead us onto this piece, and then we'll see if there's consensus.
Yes, I just want to speak briefly before Adonis jumps in with this. At first, I didn't know how much work RPTV does, and they do amazing, especially with the little budget that they have. Considering that they didn't get the funding for the SDP funding this year, they are at a deficit. And we don't want to see anyone lose, we don't want to see any community members lose their jobs, and we don't want to see a reduction in the amount of support that the RPTV does for the community. Now I'm going to pass it over to Adonis. I just had to say that, sorry.
Okay, go ahead, Adonis.
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, I guess I don't want to blow my own horn here, but I guess I'm saying if the community feels that RPTV is valuable, the work that we do, including the Regent Park TV weekly news, covering and everything else that we have been doing over the last few years, we really need support for that. Now, $15,000 doesn't even cover a quarter of what we need. Really what we're saying for $15,000, we are going to try to do as many of the SDP stakeholder table planning that we do in terms of editing them on, putting them online, the planning committee meetings, all the working groups in terms of their meetings, as well as the funded groups from the projects. We're still asking for a little bit from them, so a little bit of in kind as well. But this will help subsidize those funders groups that got funded to be able to report on the activities of the SDP and put together maybe at the end of the year video about all the groups that were funded from the SDP and all their activities, essentially. But really, I still have to look for money. Basically, we're looking at supporting the 2 reporters for the SDP, not only for RPTV, but the work that they did on Catch the Flavor as well. So that's really 2 full staff positions. 15,000 would allow us to do some of the work at least until we are able to find monies elsewhere, or else we'll just have to end those positions and leave it until we get funding. So we're asking for $15,000 to continue this work.
Thank you, Adonis. Any discussion on this item? I think Sarah Jane's thumbs are up. I just want to say, Adonis, I think everyone on planning values the work of the Regent Park TV, and we're disappointed that no funding was secured through the SDP grant because of the extensive coverage RPTV has done throughout the working groups, the planning committee, and activities of the SDP. So I see Levy wants to speak to this. Levy, please go ahead, and then we'll see if there's if we can move forward with consensus on this.
Before you speak, I just want to actually leave this conversation. I feel it's a conflict of interest for me to be in this and for our staff to be in this. So I think we're going to end our Zoom right now. And
That's Terry.
Okay, why don't you go in the waiting room? Just go in the waiting room because it's all the 2 other items, right? So if you really feel like, because you identify a conflict, we can't tell you.
Brandy, can you just call me when the item is over?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Okay, take care. Okay, Levy, go ahead.
Did I ask, do they film all the things that happen in Regent Park?
Yeah.
And what did they do with all of that film?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, on what, Regent Park TV?
Huh?
Oh, I'll have to take a look.
Yeah, they also have an Instagram account, but they're very active on YouTube. They have a
Okay.
lot of.
I'll check that out.
An
No.
essential here. They're an essential.
Very essential. Marlene, you want to say something quickly about this?
It's shocking that they didn't get money from the city. I was absolutely shocked. And they are an essential here, and we should be supporting them in a major way. And I think when they didn't get support, we should have said something. You know, because they're you know, obviously the city doesn't realize how essential they are to us and how much work they do. I don't know how he's doing what he's doing with the little funds he gets. It's outrageous from my point of view. You know, how little they're regarded. And he's been doing this for how many years? You know, he's been here for such a long time. You know, it's disgusting.
And I think that we should raise in the business case is that we see the value in Regent Park TV and the years of investment in incubating all this events, knowledge sharing, working groups, and SDP. It's all there.
And
right?
train,
So we should.
and people he's trained, you know?
Of course.
Well, what I'm thinking is, like, what do we need? What did we miss in the package? Like, this is how I see things. Like this, the best thing is to try to get a better package so that he can be guaranteed that he gets the funding, right? Bickering isn't helping this, you know? And that's the thing, is what did he miss? And he talked about a few things that he's going to do. Maybe those are the things that maybe should have been in the package to validate it, to get the funding. And that's the key, is to just figure out how we can do the right things to get what we need. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Lovely. Well said. Okay, we have Brandy, then Gail. Go ahead, Brandy.
I'll keep it short. I just wanted to say, what was I gonna say? I'm so sorry. That yeah, I definitely support this proposal being submitted on behalf of RPTV. They're in the communications group. They have a lot of great ideas that we're in process of implementing. So when we talk about things that we want to see, and we want to include more opportunities, it was more resident based, it was more storytelling, it was also connecting with a lot of the generation that needed that doesn't necessarily use English as a first language, and getting them to share their stories through interpreters. So there's a lot of great things coming from RPTV. So we definitely have to pitch in and provide that support. And I am for that proposal. And I will pass it to Gail.
Yeah, I'm good for that as well. I think so to clarify for Levi, that funding was this funding process where you submitted, you had the opportunity to speak with the city to ensure that your the application met the requirements. Certainly doesn't mean you get the funding, and then it went to a body of residents. Right, so it could be an opportunity to certainly ask for feedback. I don't know if the resident group then provided feedback, but that is how it goes, right? There's a women's group. They also and they've got what 60 women doing great work. They didn't get the funding, right? So it's tough. They met with the city, and you know what I mean. So we're going to see the value, and this is that opportunity too. We have a funding committee. This is an opportunity to get funding. I know Brandy is gung-ho when it comes to writing grants, and she's even offered to write grants for free with residents who've asked for that help. I think the opportunities are there though. Like, because you can't put all your eggs in one basket. And I know Marlene says this often, and we have to be self-sufficient. right? And so it's the funding committee. Here's your opportunity. What are those other funding resources we can get? Because there's no guarantee, right? We said, look, we want these things. Thank you. We want these things, but we also have to say, okay, the city's doing whatever. Maybe that's not, but let us go get funding because we are saying we're doing great work. If we're doing great work, we have to be able to document it, which Focus has done for us many times. And then let's go get funding from other sources. We cannot put all our eggs in one basket when it comes to this funding thing. I've raised it a few times and I'll continue to raise it. I know Marlene has raised it as well. But it's got to be more than deputing to the city, because the way things going right now with politics, with what's happening with these different federal races, these provincial races, whenever there's political races, money is not available. What you get are a lot of promises.
Okay, thanks, Gail. So I haven't heard any opposition to the business case. So I think we built consensus on this item. Brandy, do you mind calling Adonis, just ask him to join us? Our next item is the in-person meeting expenses for 2025, once a month for childcare and food starting from February to December 31st, 2025. So I'm just gonna buy some time for Brandy while she makes that call. How many of us were in that meeting? I know Doreen, you are not there. You're excused. But I believe most of us were there through a hybrid setup. So in person and online. So I'm gonna ask folks to quickly comment to that.
What meetings are these for? Every meeting?
Hybrid meetings, the one we had at the birth center.
Oh, but I mean,
So it's the proposal is once a month.
for which
Planning committee.
Oh, planning committee. Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, we'll go to the first speaker on this item, what your thoughts are, and then let's see if there's consensus. Thank you, Sarah Jane. Gail,
I would not go for money for this. Sorry, and I don't know if it's still on the page screen. I'm not seeing it, but my understanding is money for the meeting. I don't know if it's for food or something like that.
Brandy, you want to answer Gail's question because so that we will build a shared understanding of what is this expense for? Go ahead.
Yep. So we all have been, engaging each other about what we can do to make, people more collaborative, how to engage more, how to be more respectful with each other, how to, be more supportive, but mainly to be more social. The Zoom meetings are helpful. They're very great for like bad weather. They're great for, when there's outbreaks and things like that. But one of the things that a lot of members have expressed is the desire to meet in person. We are now in process of planning a once a month hybrid meeting. So for the option of those who can attend, it would be great to attend. And, we are some of the, I'm not going to say everybody, I hope I'm not overgeneralizing or stepping on anyone's toes, but some of us are all, low income individuals. And if you're a low income individual coming to a meeting for 2 hours and, maybe in the afternoon or maybe in the evening, I'm not sure if we're going to do the 5 to 7, but it's nice to have a meal. And I think that, people are a little bit more relaxed when they have a meal and they're social. They behave better.
I agree. I don't know if they behave better, but I agree. Definitely. And I was always.
And childcare. Don't forget childcare.
Absolutely. You have a meeting at 6. That is dinner time. So yes. So what I would recommend, I'm a little bit opposed to going for money for this. So I think that you could do this different. All right. So I'll start with myself. I'm not rich, but I'm certainly willing for one meeting to donate food. I think I can reach out to one of my colleagues who is a food entrepreneur to say, hey, would you be interested in doing this with me? And I think there are other people who would do that. Another suggestion could be a potluck. Food brings people together, absolutely correct. And if I can share something of my culture or something I made, yay. Another way to kind of bring people together. So that's what I would do. We see the struggle, and I'm saying that because we see the struggle with the city and money. We don't really have a funding strategy that is all encompassing. We want to do these things. We see the value and the importance, and maybe sometimes getting a little bit creative could be a way to go. I mean, the meetings are what, 20 people at the most? I don't know if you even had that much in person, but yeah, I'm more than willing to do that. You know, maybe there's somebody else who is also willing to, but hey, how about a potluck? I get to enjoy your food, you get to enjoy mine.
And I'm willing to eat that food.
I can't cook, girl, so that's something I buy or ask somebody to make. But you know, you get my point. These things, you know, look, I trained many people over the years. Most people were new to the country. I'd be training 25 people at a go. We were together for 8 weeks, and we introduced a Friday potluck, and that is how people truly got to know each other. I got to recognize what was halal, what is halal, why do you do it? I got to recognize what an empanada was, like all these types of things, and it built that. You're right. Camaraderie. So
Okay, thanks, Gail, for that suggestion. Marlene, you could go next.
Yeah, frankly, I was going to suggest the same thing. I think a potluck is a great way to get together. And it's easy. I mean, even if somebody can just bring rolls, you know, if you're not a cook, but you can just bring that, you can just bring water. You know, it's you know, everybody can bring something. Somebody brings napkins. You know, and it can be organized. You know, you organize it so you know what people are bringing. So yeah, I would absolutely do that. I don't want to go to the city for stuff like this.
Okay.
I think that's part of looking after ourselves, you know, without going to the city for everything. These are our meetings. It's our community. We should be looking after ourselves.
So folks, I just want to bring another perspective, but I think we have consensus on how to move forward on this item. I remember getting approached by a couple of local caterers for, hey, can you ask members of the planning committee if they want to order food to come to us? So we do have local entrepreneurs that also benefit from buying locally or purchasing food from the vendors. So let's not lose that point. But why not try the proposal put forward by Gail and seconded by Marlene for the next meetings to see if there's an appetite for a potluck. And if there is and it's working, great, nothing to fix. But if it's not working, then we can bring forward that business proposal. Because I think the one thing that I'm taking away from what Brandy said is that it's working when you have in-person meetings. We tried it. People were coming out to in-person meetings, and it changed the tone of the meetings or how people connect throughout the meeting. So I think it's a good thing. We should do it. So we don't have consensus on putting forward a proposal to the city as of yet. We want to try the potluck idea. Are we all comfortable with that?
I want to make sure that childcare is included in this.
Childcare for the monthly meetings. Okay. Yes. Okay. We'll make sure that that's included. Good point, Sarah Jane.
Thank you, Sarah Jane. I totally forgot that part. Childcare was also a part of that. So for the hybrid monthly meetings, planning committee meetings, if there are residents that have children, that they have childcare provided.
Okay. Marlene?
When is the next hybrid meeting?
We haven't selected a date as of yet. We're in process.
Okay, I would be happy to organize the next one if I have a list of people who are coming.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Marlene.
Okay. Just
Okay.
give me time because I need a week.
Need for this. Okay. So we'll be discussing the meeting times the next item. So we'll make sure to share that. I'm assuming everyone is comfortable with us moving forward for this item number 6 to have to go through a potluck way of making sure people are fed, and then reassess the situation after that. Okay. Okay, we're done with item 6. Since we have consensus on that, that's good. I'm not seeing any opposition. Gail, you see your hand up.
Yes, Marlene, sorry, responding to you, let me know if you need any supports in terms of, getting stuff together. Thanks.
So I'm gonna say childcare again, because it's in the writing, so as long as it's there.
It's there.
Okay. Okay, so I think we have consensus. That's good. People are going to collaborate on this item. The next item is training for conflict resolution. Back to you, Brandy.
Yes. So one of the things that keeps being repeated, and I know that we've heard, Miguel, we've heard a lot of members of the planning committee, Joel, Waleed, pretty much essentially everybody at one point or another has said that there is a need for conflict resolution within the SDP, and that it will help improve when there is an issue. I believe another part to that was the incident logs and the incident reports, but that was from Deanie, so I'll let her speak more to that. But just to say, I do believe that there should be conflict resolution training provided, and I believe that this would be a great opportunity to present that. But I would like to pass this to Miguel, because do you mind, Miguel? I'm not calling you out, but I know that you were a big supporter of conflict resolution being brought in. So did you want to have an opportunity to speak to it?
Well, in my conversations with Joel and the changing cultures of Regent Park, one of the suggestions were that to if approved, then we'll be able to start the meeting in the right place, in the right way, in a good way, so that any perception of personal attacks, interpersonal issues with another member are not part of the business agenda. That they can be quickly solved by taking the individual or the individuals, because at the last SDP stakeholder table, there were up to 4 individuals who were on the attack with personal issues brought forward, which really delayed the work we were about to begin. And because this is becoming a norm with some members of this community to use these platforms to bring their dirty laundry out to the open, it's not practical anymore, because we are just very much limited in resources. It's very exhausting to consider interpersonal conflict, and that is my request is that it all is attached to the changing culture of Regent Park recommendations. I think one of them was to create a quick team that will address the individuals who have raised their personal concerns of the meeting of the meeting that we are having, so that we just focus on the agenda at hand and not to ruin my dinner because someone has a grievance about an individual. This is not a place where we're going to continue bringing personal conflict to find solutions where what kind of options or solutions they're seeing. the removal of a member from the SDP, a removal of the member from the TCSC housing. I don't know what kind of solutions they're seeking, but or the removal of the co-chair, which has happened in the last 2 years. Wali was a direct target at Park, at other tables. So we really had to 180-degree change the way we start our meetings because not anymore is this a practice that we should be encouraged in Regent Park. This drama that goes on has to stop, in my opinion, because all it does is discourage members from continue participating, and they get horrified, and they don't want to come back. And they, and then we hear stories about bullying. Then we hear stories about vertical violence, etc., etc., etc. That is the whole purpose of a training for conflict resolution. Who's gonna pay for it? Well, we can always go back to Richard. He promised, to help us. That was one of the updates we received during the SDP refresh presentations. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Hello?
Okay, we got Michael next, and then Franz, we have about 10 minutes left before the meeting concludes. So this is the last, this is the second last item. Go ahead.
So conflict resolution is not the same thing as conflict resolution training. And this, if we're not careful about what we put into this business case, we could end up disempowering the SDP and appointing somebody who takes control of the SDP. So let's just be careful and write this one out correctly. I'm not opposed to it as long as it doesn't go in until the wording has been carefully checked. As for who pays for it, I might end up paying for it because I already am. So hopefully anybody else who pays for it does it in a way that is compatible with the SDP culture and doesn't cause new problems. So let's just word this one so that we know what we're asking for. So, and I haven't heard yet even how much money people are proposing to ask for. So I'd like to work on the document to make sure we get something that actually achieves its intended purposes.
Okay, thanks, Michael. I do see a comment from Levy in the chat that resolution workshops on Eventbrite free of charge. So this could be also a good start to look at those conflict resolution workshops. Levy, thanks so much for sharing that.
Levi.
Well, yeah, that's a really good Levi, right?
Levi.
Levi. I want to make sure I say it properly. Levi, thank you so much for sharing that suggestion. It's really a good first step. I haven't heard anyone speak against it, but we've got Joel and then back to Miguel. So Joel, go first.
Wonder if Levi, you could share a link for that, or just explain if you go on Eventbrite, is it easy to find that?
Yes, I just Googled Eventbrite conflict resolution and it came up. And the good thing about that is if, like me, I have to do it a few times to get it in my brain, I can do it as many times as I want. And there's probably different levels of conflict resolution or specific. There's all sorts of free workshops. If, I feel like conflict resolution is a personal thing that we deal with every day with our children. And so you want to be proactive in your life and the emotional regulation, then we do that stuff. Like, I do workshops all the time. So we should all do that,
Levi.
Okay.
With Miguel, then Gail, and then we'll move to the next item if no one else wants.
Hello. I just want to make sure I clarify what I said.
Okay, I'll put you back on the list after Gail. Miguel?
So Richard and John Smith, if I remember correctly, when I asked him or them, who is going to pay for the training? And my understanding was that it was the SDFA was going to pay for it. If Levy's suggestion is more practical, sure, we can go that avenue as well for free workshops. But in essence, what I want to see happen to our next SDP stakeholders table is a change in the culture we do business. I don't want to see the same shameful scenario that we have last time at 660 Dundas Street East, where we're really taking hostage by three individuals who were creating a negative environment to the conversation that we were having, where they were only seeking their own validation of their concerns and their grievances. So I want to see a different start up when we meet next time, because folks, we cannot allow a small minority of this community that are offended, they are bullied, or they perceive to be bullied, or they're bullies at the end of the day. So all that stuff, needs to change, because we really have to focus what is important in the bigger picture. It's moving ahead with our agenda plans. It's not a personal agenda. It's the SDP agenda, where we want to see happening in our community. But these type of delays it drains our energy. It makes us, feel that we are powerless to confront these individuals who can accuse us, of being bullies and or at whatever name they can find it on the dictionary. So I'm really tired of this attitude of some residents of this community. Why can't they just hold up a meeting where they want to have a face-to-face, like a mediation? I have offered mediation to several residents in this community, but they don't want to take accountability of their actions, and they continue doing what they're doing because they seem to be untouchables. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Gail and then Levy. Gail?
Ms. Levi. I know how Kamala feels. So, conflict resolution, I think I almost agree with Levi, personal. And I don't know that this is maybe the way to go about it, because the reasoning given to me is not a valid reason, right? Because you may speak to another person and they say, yeah, these things happen and this is why I'm uncomfortable. And I would dare say that those people who may have been in conflict hardly, if not at all now, coming to those meetings. Right? It's because it sounds like now we're starting to signal people who are saying, well, this person did this, so we should do conflict resolution. So I think a good idea is what is Michael's suggestion that, hey, let me write something and let's bring it back and then let's have that conversation. I think we have the shaping cultures, and I think that should be a lot of our focus individually, looking at that document, getting comfortable, seeing if there's anything we want to have addressed or tweaked or have conversations with that whole group about. It is a very well laid out document, and we've been going through it in different working groups. So, let that be the starting point, but certainly wait for this document that Michael is going to come with, so we have more meat to this that we can talk about. Because there's conflict resolution, then there's also the other piece from the shaping cultures around the log, and those two things maybe need to be separate as well.
Okay. Oh, I see new hands now. Okay, folks, almost 7 o'clock, so just try to be brief. I think, okay, Michael, you want to go next because you wanted to clarify something? And then
Okay,
we'll...
yes, no, I just wanted to sort of similar to what Gail just said, which is I think we need to consider exactly what we're asking for here. So this one also needs to go back for work, and I am willing to discuss it with some people and come up with a proposal, but I definitely think we need to know what we're approving before we approve this one, because it's something that could go in different directions, and we need to know what we're actually approving.
Okay, next we have Joel and then Miguel. Go ahead, Joel.
I just remembered that I was going to put out a call. If anybody would like to join the Shaping Culture group, please put up your hand and I'll include you in the email.
Sounds good.
Pull the meeting. So just do that right now. Just put up your hand now if you want to do it. You don't need to, but just giving people the opportunity if you want to.
Okay, why don't we poll people who are in the meeting who would like to join the Shaping SDP Culture?
Brandy, we have Levi's hand up.
Okay, Levi, Brandy. I'm assuming the other members like Michael, Ines, myself, or it's a new call for new members.
Okay, thanks, folks.
That's my hand.
Yep.
Arlene is interested. Anyone else?
Right, so you're including the previous members, right?
Yeah. Michael, yeah,
Yes.
you're on it. Was on it. I was on it. Ines was on it. Okay, so I think we've taken interest. Thank you. Levi, do you want to speak to this?
No, I just can't figure out how to put my hand down yet.
Sorry.
We're waiting for that contribution to come out. That's great. Okay, I think we're good with regards to this item. We don't have full consensus on how to move forward. We still need to figure out some details. These are all the business cases, Brandy? Or do we miss any?
Correct. Those were all the business cases that we discussed. Again, that was just us getting ideas out. That was the first step. I think the second step is to go over, each of them as a committee and correct the wording or explain and add dollars to it so that we can keep track of what we're expensing and what we're submitting.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, folks, let's go back to the main agenda. I'm gonna request that we defer the discussion on the in-person once a month in-person planning meeting to the next meeting, because it's once a month. I think we already had one planning committee meeting last week at the birth center. So thanks to our friends at the birth center for that. So this is a second planning meeting, so we could probably discuss that agenda item next week. And then if there's any other agenda items that you would like to discuss, please come to the agenda planning meeting. It's every Tuesday. So that's at 3:30, correct? Is that correct, Brandy? 3:30 on Tuesday?
Correct. Yes, correct.
Okay, so please show up to that meeting and you can bring those items forward. Before we conclude, noting that the hybrid meetings and larger periodic meetings will be discussed at the next meeting, and the stakeholders table meeting will also be discussed. Hopefully we'll have some place booked so that we could discuss logistics for that meeting. Miguel, you want to speak to an item?
I want to get ahead of the agenda preparation for next week. To continue the conversation that we have with the Regent Park Safety Network in relation to the perceived extension of time for the resident TCAC co-chairs that was not clear for them, but they said they understand it, but they have not opened up the election process. If I want to know that can be added to the next agenda item, please.
Okay, point taken. We shall discuss this agenda planning and bring it to planning committee. Thank you, Miguel.
And I think
Okay.
Michael was going to be part of that conversation as well.
Yeah, it's open to anyone. Anyone can speak to that item. So please reach out to Michael directly about that. Okay, so any other remarks before we conclude our meeting? Okay, folks, don't see anyone's hand up. It's 7:03 p.m. Thank you for participating in today's planning committee meeting, and we'll see you next week. And just some quick announcements. I want to encourage you folks to check out Black History Month events that are happening this month. They are ones that we're going to promote next week, one at Cafe Zuzu, and there are a couple of others in the community. One this this Saturday, I believe, at where is this? It's at February 22nd. So there's a bunch of them at the end of the month, and one is at, I think you're Miguel. This is at the co-op, I'm assuming.
Yeah, there's an event at the co-op.
Yeah, the co-op. Yes.
Okay.
Amazing. Yeah, we should promote that, and that's been done. That's been organized by our own Karen Grant. Shout out to Karen for also been nominated for a prize for recognition during Black History Month. So we'll be sharing more details at future meetings. Thank you. Take care of yourself and have a lovely evening.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Take care, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.